Alright, we back.
Rolling in.
Rolling in. So now we have SA2B with the boy Tylen0l. What's poppin', gamer?
What's good, Void? Yeah, this is Hero Story for Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. It's the most popularly ran category of the game, and there's a lot of like demonstration of tricks, going fast, RNG, all that good stuff that speedrunning has to grant. So yeah, there's a lot of that type of stuff. I'm gonna be trying my best to explain as much of it as I can as I'm doing it, but of course there's a lot to go over, so I'm gonna do my best with it. So without further ado, here we go. So the first level, City Escape, there is a trick already that saves 30 seconds if I can get it first try. I'm only going to be attempting it once because it is a pretty difficult trick and it burns about 10 seconds per fail. So I'm only going to be trying it once, so hopefully I can get it. But essentially, after this boarding section, you're going to start to be doing a lot of spin dashing. That's going to be the primary and fastest way to move with Sonic, so you can like keep a lot of your momentum. So it starts right here. This trick is already almost coming up. Let's see if I can get it. Ooh, missed it. So basically what's supposed to happen there is you get clipped out of bounds by going so fast into those speed pads, and it clips you out of bounds and you end up going to the latter half of the level. It saves about 30 seconds if you can get it. I missed it, unfortunately, so I will have to play through the level, which is fine because this is a pretty cool level. This nice little part where you get flipped upside down here. And as I said earlier, spin dashing is the fastest way to move in this game. So you're going to want to spin dash as much as you possibly can. Oops. Okay, so now there's this truck section. You're being chased by this truck, and you can actually outspeed it, which is pretty ironic. You can stay on the ground here. Cool. So, yep, that's City Escape. Unfortunately, I didn't get the skip, which does save a lot of time, but that's okay. Next, we have a boss. It's Bigfoot. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward boss. You're basically trying to do somersaults to land on top of boxes to hit him. He has an animation he goes through where he actually goes out of bounds and you can't hit him at all. So it's pretty important to be able to catch him before he gets into that out of bounds phase, because it loses you about 6 to 7 seconds. So I'm going to be trying to just do this boss as quick as I can, essentially, and hit him as fast as I can between every hit. Just like that. So upcoming level is Wild Canyon. Wild Canyon is the first of the 5 Knuckle stages. You're going to be collecting 3 pieces of the Master Emerald, and you can actually see some of the ones you're not supposed to collect yet because the game wants you to do them in order, but you can actually see some of them before you actually are supposed to get them. Like that one right there that I just actually almost missed. And we're going to be reading hint monitors to figure out where all the pieces are, and I have already practiced the knuckle stages and memorized the locations based on reading the hint monitors. Some of the hint monitors give you multiple locations, so like that one was called Sandy Path, and a lot of the Sandy Path pieces you can only really tell which one you got based on the radar when you get over there. And another boss fight coming up. This is the introduction of Tails. Pretty much the hardest boss in the game right here. All you have to do is hold forward and shoot. It's pretty difficult. Yeah, really hard boss. So next we got Prison Lane. Prison Lane is the first actual Tails level, and it's gonna introduce like the mech movement. And while you're turning corners as Tails, you basically want to jump, because otherwise you're gonna lose all of your momentum. So like as you can see, like I'm doing these jumps so that I can get around these corners. And this level basically just has a bunch of robots you're supposed to be shooting so you can open up the doors. So I'm going to be trying to lock on through everything through doors so that I can advance to the next section as fast as I can. There's a little gate jump right here. Saves you a good chunk of time. Probably like 2 seconds, I think. Another cool little trick here, you can go past this little gate on the elevator so you don't have to wait for it to come down once you get to the top. And again, I'm going to be shooting a lot of these enemies to open the doors. And you can actually shoot some of them through walls and stuff, so with this right here, you can kind of catch him before he lands. Shoot some enemies through that wall, and then some more over here. And there's a large sequence of enemies at the end here, so it's really hard to kind of get them all as fast as you can, save as much time as you can. But there's a little sequence you can go through where there's a certain timing in which you jump, so you can shoot all of them. So now we have the second Sonic stage coming up, Metal Harbor. This stage can be kind of tricky because you're actually over a big sheet of water that can kill you, and Sonic can't really swim, so, you know, you're gonna have to be really careful with all of your jumps so you don't fall in there.
Metal Harbor is like the only thing I know about this game, so...
It's the coolest stage, easily, so can't blame you there. You can do a little trick here to go underneath that. And we're going to also get this upgrade, the light shoes. This allows you to do light dashes through the rings. It can save you a good chunk of time. You can actually complete this level without actually getting this upgrade, but it is faster to go pick it up. And here's a loop. We're going to skip it because loops are really slow in this game. I got another little trick here called pulley skip. Oop, looks like I messed it up. So that's going to lose me about 10 seconds. Okay, I got it this time. But yeah, a big theme about this game is that the loops are really slow, so you never want to go through them. Got another skip coming up here called Rocket Skip. So you can actually just spin dash on that slope, and you can use your horizontal speed to kind of push you upwards, and then you can hit that spring without having to take the entire like route around that the game wants you to take. And another part similar to the beginning of City Escape at the boarding section. And we're also coming up on another loop that we want to skip.
Yes!
Patented missile launch in 15 fire.
Barely made it.
Cool, another boss, third boss of the run, Shadow 1. And also infamous cutscene in this video game.
Whew. So far, so good. Hey, that's...
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you. Faker.
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Huh. You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you
fake.
eat those words.
Cool, so in this boss fight, we're going to be doing something called storage. But essentially, as Sonic is starting to charge a spin dash, he actually has an active hitbox.
I'm the coolest. Oh,
that starts before he actually starts to charge a spin dash. So Shadow doesn't know that we're trying to hit him before we actually hit him, because we're not actually initiating any kind of attack. So that way he won't try to jump away from us or anything when we try to hit him. And this trick allows us to also start charging spin dashes between like springs and other types of platform movement. We're going to be doing it a bit in this stage.
What are you doing? Hurry and get back here right now before the island blows up with you on it!
Blows up?
Alright, so there is also another trick in Green Forest called Green Forest Wall Run. There are a couple of variants of it. One is called Moonshot and another is called Task Run. Moonshot is a much easier version of the trick that has a little bit more of a wonky like stuff going on to it that can make you mess it up. But Task Run is a much more consistent version of the trick that saves 2 seconds on Moonshot. I'm going to be attempting to do Task Run in this. And it is a little bit more difficult, so there is a chance I'll fail it, and I probably won't go for it more than once, but it can save me about 15 seconds if I get it. Nice little loop skip here, because loops are slow. Alright, the trick's coming up soon. Gonna get a safety checkpoint. Oh, okay. I actually got the loop speed there, which is what you're supposed to do. But basically, in this game, loops force you down into the loop with loop speed, so you don't fall off. Because it's really easy for a casual to be like, I don't know what buttons to push, so I'm gonna fall off, you know? So we actually abuse this mechanic to get on top of that tree and run up the tree. Unfortunately, I got some kind of wonky stuff with it, and I actually ended up falling off. And I get to ascending here. Alright, cool. So coming up, we've got the second Knuckle stage of the run, Pumpkin Hill. Again, all the Knuckle stages are RNG. There are a possibility of 1024 combination of pieces that you can get when you enter the level. So we have all of these piece locations memorized due to like reading monitors, but Pumpkin Hill is actually one of the few stages that it will read one hint, but could easily have multiple locations. And punctuation on the hint monitor readings can also determine where your pieces are going to be.
I feel like I've already asked you that question before. What's the potential variance on Knuckles stage?
The potential variance meaning what?
Like, meaning best RNG versus worst RNG, like, how much time can you possibly lose?
You can lose a lot. You can get, like, 25 seconds in this stage, or you can get, like, 50.
Oh yeah, I guess it varies from level to level as well.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them, they vary a lot more than others, especially. Cool, so we got this piece. Let's see where our last one is. King of the Hill, not the greatest set I'm getting here, because this piece is all the way on this pumpkin in the very corner of the stage. But 45, not the worst time. 40, somewhere from 40 to 45 is about average. Less than 40 is pretty good. Past 45 is where it gets in the bad range.
Yeah, this is perfect.
But yeah, the time variances are pretty insane. Like, my goal for the next Knuckle stage, Aquatic Mine, is 16 seconds. But, like, I think there was a PB I had where it was 40 seconds. So, 22-second time difference just because of RNG. So this is Mission Street. It's next tail stage. There's actually going to be an upgrade in it called the Booster. Now, this will allow us to do a trick called pause hovering. Essentially, we'll be able to jump, push the pause button, and then unpause, and then press A again to get a hover, and the game actually thinks that we're pushing A 2 times really, really close together. And this will allow us to access places we wouldn't normally be able to access. So like right here, this weight I just got onto, normally I'd have to wait for it to fall, and then get on top of it afterwards, but due to pause hovering, I actually can get just enough height to get on top of it. And this is a cycle-based stage, so I'm actually trying to catch a cycle here that's we call zero cycle. So it's going to be a back tube that you're going to want to get on top of, and that's another little gate, little like box section you can get over. Normally you're supposed to go back and hit a missile to break those, but pause hovering's pretty broken, so you can just kind of get on top of that. So I am trying to still catch a cycle here, so hopefully I can get there in time. Gotta hit the switch, and we got one more pause over to go. And there it is, 0 cycles. So this is the fastest cycle you can get in this stage, and it saves about 7 seconds or 8 seconds over the prior cycle. A little weird section here. You can fall here pretty easily, so it's important to be a little careful. It's a silly place to like die and lose a run because then everything just, the last checkpoint is so far back. Sometimes you can shoot these cars and sometimes you can't. It's kind of weird. You kind of have to hit like the very top of it. So cool. We have Aquatic Mine coming up next. It's the third Knuckle stage. This is probably the most difficult Knuckle stage of all of them because it is the most, although all the Knuckle stages are RNG, this is the one that rewards skill the most. If you're really good at this stage, you can get good times even with bad RNG. So there's a cutscene coming up where I can actually see free pieces in it. So let me see if I can find any. I didn't get any, so fortunately not the greatest RNG until we see what we get. I'm gonna be looking in here to see if I can grab any free pieces. Okay, I didn't get anything. I'm gonna be reading monitor to figure out where I need to go. Container on a shelf. It's gonna be up here in this corner. Gonna do a little wall run here for swag. It saves a little bit of time too.
It's closer.
Okay. Okay, nice.
I found him.
So yeah, although I got a 32 here, definitely could have saved a lot more time with better execution. So that's what I meant when I said like this stage is very rewarding for skill, even though it is an RNG stage. So next we have Route 101, which is the kart racing stage that everyone loves oh so much. It's the reason why people love this game, right? So essentially once I cap out my speed from a boost, I'm able to start drifting and I can kind of just continuously drift and I can basically keep my speed cap and continue it throughout the entire level. This is about like a 2-minute level, so I'd probably compare it to Croctopus Chase in Donkey Kong Country. I make that reference a lot. It's not quite like a stage you can ignore because it's not an auto-scroller, but like it is something you have to like, you can save time in it, but you do have to pay attention.
I'm getting closer.
Essentially, we're also going to be like trying to dodge as many cars as we can and not crash directly into a wall. It's okay if we kind of ricochet off of a wall, but we don't want to crash into it directly because that'll spin Tails' cart out, and you don't want to do that because that loses about like, depending on where exactly it happens, it can lose you somewhere from like 2 to 5 seconds. And I'm boosting in pretty specific places so that I can kind of keep my speed as much as possible.
Tails, did you find the president?
Almost, Sonic. Just a few more minutes.
Gotta dodge these cars. Hitting cars is pretty detrimental sometimes because you pretty much, like, your speed gets dropped all the way like back down to what it was before you started drifting pretty much, and that can be really bad depending on exactly where it happens. So although I want rings to get boosts, I don't want to hit any cars. And the cars are not RNG, they're all determined by how fast you're going. So like, I can kind of tell how far ahead or behind I am based on what car patterns I'm getting, and sometimes they're in my way. when they wouldn't normally be, just because of, you know, how the Route 101 is going. So this is about an average Route 101 for me. I think it's going to be like a 216. Fun fact about the stage is when you complete it, the timer actually goes down by 1 second. So if you saw at 217, when I actually found the president, but it's gonna show on the display that I got a 216. I'm not exactly sure why that is. It just kind of is. But as I mentioned before with with Tails in the booster and doing pause hovers, there's actually going to be a lot of pause hovers in this upcoming stage, Hidden Base. Hidden Base is similar to Metal Harbor, where there's a big kill plane sheet on the bottom. In this case, it is sand, and we do not want to touch any of that. So we're gonna have to be really careful with our hovers here, because Tails can easily sink here. So I'm gonna be doing a trick here, or attempting a trick here that will catch a cycle called pole jump. I'm gonna try and get a pause hover on this pole. It looks like I got it. Hopefully I have enough height here so that the wall doesn't suck me in. Okay, looks like we're good. So yeah, this trick saves about 4 seconds, and it's a pretty difficult trick to get, so pretty happy I just got it. Yeah, there's a lot of hovering over the pit of sand. Another pause over here that can save me a good chunk of time. I think this should be high enough. Nice, cool. So far, a really good stage. And there's these doors. Each of these Eggman doors take 3 hits to open. So it's actually faster to kind of time it. Like 1, 2, 3, rather than just like shooting it a bunch of times. Unless it's far away from you, then you can kind of just shoot it a bunch of times. So yeah, pause hover galore. Get out of bounds here so you can save a little bit of time. Try and hit these dynamite packs on the top. And knock down this pillar so we can get on top and get to the end of the level. Cool, 142, definitely not too bad of a time. I think my ILPB is a 141, so that's not bad. Alright, so no downtime here with any cutscene skips or anything, so we do have Pyramid Cave, a really difficult Sonic stage, and also the introduction of the Bounce Bracelet, which is probably the most broken upgrade in this game. So, I got this first tunnel coming up. If I'm fast in this first tunnel, my first checkpoint time should be 12 seconds. If not, it will be slower than that, like 13 or 14. So we'll see what I can get here. It should barely be a 12-second time. Yeah. Nice little hourglass bounce there. It kind of skips having to hit the hourglass and go to the spring on the other side. Nice little mock bounce here also, so you can get on top of that. If you can turn your horizontal speed into vertical speed by holding the A button and charging a spin dash into that little corner. And this is the bounce bracelet. So the bounce bracelet can allow us to do super bounces. And a super bounce basically means you can jump and then bounce, and your vertical speed will turn into, or your horizontal speed will turn into a vertical speed, so you can actually get through this door without having to open it. And we got another door that we're going to skip here. Normally you're supposed to get a switch to get inside, but there's a little crack in the corner, so we can just kind of slip in there. Another tunnel section. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this checkpoint just in case. Here's a skip called Snake Skip. It's called Snake Skip because you want to get on the snake and then use the bounce bracelet to actually run on this wall. That trick might look like it saves like a lot of time, but it only saves about like 3 seconds, I believe. But it looks really cool, so. I'm gonna do a gravity bounce here to end the stage. Alright, so we've got Death Chamber coming up, which is probably the most it's probably one of the trickier Knuckle stages and can be the most painful when it comes to RNG. But it's called Death Chamber for a reason. We are going to die in this stage unless we get really lucky. So we're actually going to do intentional deaths more than likely in this stage so we can save time. Cool, so this is a perfect example of this. So we also got these hammer gloves. The only thing that the hammer gloves do, they basically allow you to break the silver containers instead of just regular wooden boxes, like these ones right here. Okay, so we got a piece called Sniper. Last time I got this piece, I died without grabbing it, so I'm going to be a little careful this time. Okay, and we're going to die on purpose here. Now, if you get a piece that's in this blue room, there's actually a statistic that was drawn. I think it was about 40% chance of you getting a piece in this room after you die. So I'm actually going to try and re-roll to try and get that piece in this room.
It's over.
I actually just saw a different free piece that's not the piece in this room. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And that one's real. You can only see that piece if you play this game in 16:9. It's not visible in 4:3. And I'm still going to be re-rolling for that piece too, which I'm still not getting. I'm getting pretty unlucky here. So I believe it's about a 40% chance every time. Oh man.
It's over.
Alright, we got it this time.
It's closer.
It is in fact over.
This is perfect.
Oh, so this felt like... This reminds me of basically an Ocarina of Time when you recycle the RNG for Dempe. You always go for that 10% instead of just going through the graveyard all at once.
Right, yeah.
It's similar, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What the? Ghost?
Okay, and I'm actually going to go ahead and exit the game here so that I can get some more lives for the upcoming levels that we have. So we're going to be watching that What the a Ghost cutscene one more time.
Who's there?
Because these lives will come in handy in the next couple of levels, because Death Chamber literally took all 8 of my lives that I had. So, King Boom Boo. This boss, when I played this game casually, I actually didn't know you could beat this boss in one cycle. And then I found out from speedrunning this game, you actually can, and it saves so much time. You can finish this boss in like 45 seconds instead of like 2 minutes. So he speeds up after you hit him the first time. If you get a really good angle with your running speed, you can actually hit him again. And again. And one more time. And that saves a lot of time over what the game wants you to do, which is wait to hit him 1 time per cycle. So as I mentioned with super bounces in Pyramid Cave, there are going to be some really difficult super bounces I'm going to be trying to do for this boss fight Egg Golem. But basically, I'm using that little sliver that I have in that corner to try and get some height out of this. And I swear, these are a lot more complicated than I'm making them look. So I just got 3 in a row, which is all you really need. After you hit him the 3rd time, he starts to do this headbutt attack, which I messed up the hit for, so I need to come up with a backup. I guess I'm just going to do another super bounce. And then I'll wait for him to do it again. Cool. So yeah. That saves a lot of time over, like, the normal way to do this boss fight, which they want you to climb around his back and stuff. So yeah, we have Eternal Engine coming up, which actually has a skip that was discovered within the last year by Hazel, who tasks this game, the Metroid Prime series, Battle for Bikini Bottom, and the first Sonic Adventure game. This skip that was discovered saves 40 seconds over the prior skip that we used to use before. And we call this skip Bofa. And if you're asking Bofa what, it's Bofa the boxes. We're actually
Bofa
going to...
these nuts.
Got him. We're going to be using both of these boxes to clip out of bounds. Failed it this time, so I'm actually going to go for a death so that I can get the boxes to respawn.
This is my new favorite speed game now. There's a trick called Bofa. Holy shit.
Alright, so we clip out using both of these boxes, and basically just fly to the end and go to the goal ring. I'm gonna have like another pause I'm gonna be doing because the camera's gonna completely flip backwards on me soon. and that completely inverts my controls. So I have a setup that I do for this so I can find the goal ring, because you have a kind of a wonky camera. I'm using some background visual cues. Alright, so 126 I should fall down, right? Oops. Okay. I'll play it safe here. Okay. You can miss that goal ring and die, and it is rather tragic. You have to do that entire out-of-bounds section all over again. So, coming up, Meteor Herd, the last Knuckles stage in the run. It is not too difficult of a stage, but it is really big, so there's a lot of like up and down you gotta do depending on what your RNG is like. So this stage can range from like 25 seconds to 55 seconds, depending on what RNG you get. So I'm gonna be restarting the stage if I get pieces that are really going to grant me like rather slow times. This one's fine though. This is a good first piece to get because it's in the middle, which is really reasonable to get to. I'm going to be scouting out for a couple of free pieces. Pretty unlikely I'll get any, but keep my eyes open for them. There's one over there that you can see, but I didn't get it. Alright, this is on the top, which isn't too inconvenient because the rocket's right here. There's also potentially a free piece you can see over here. Didn't get any. So I'm gonna keep going over here. And I'm gonna play it safe because the last piece could be up here. Looks like it isn't. So it's Jump from the Star, which I'm gonna be going down for. Where am I going? There it is. Pretty sure it's this one. Yeah. It's hard to kind of tell which one it is based on the radar unless you're paying really close attention. But yeah, I got a 52. I definitely made some mistakes, so I wouldn't blame that entirely on the RNG. This stage, I mean, this game can be kind of tricky because even if you get good RNG, you can still mess up. So the time isn't truly reflective of your RNG. It's mostly just reflective of what happened. So Rouge, next boss fight for Knuckles. I'm going to be doing a drill dive on top of Rouge, and then I'm going to walk away from her, let her try and attack me back, and then I'm going to just continuously do more of the handstands of death, if you will.
Very well. If that's how you want to play, I will take it from you.
And I think at like 20 seconds or so, the bottom opens up and shoots a lot of air out, and it makes the fight rather chaotic. So you actually are able to clean up the fight before that even happens. So now we're entering Crazy Gadget, which has a trick in it that saves quite a bit of time. A minute, I believe, over doing the stage skip list, called Crazy Gadget Skip Skip. It was called Crazy Gadget Skip Skip because Crazy Gadget Skip already existed, and then the second skip was discovered that skips the skip and saves 20 seconds over the first Crazy Gadget skip. So this is CGSS, also known as Crazy Gadget Skip Skip. It's a really difficult trick, so I'm definitely going to be getting a checkpoint for this, and I wouldn't be surprised if I failed this multiple times, because it is a really difficult trick to get. And it's also a very big run killer for most people. You're going to be navigating between 3 different kill planes here. So I hit one of them. Oh, hit another one. Yeah, like I said, this is a hard trick, so... Loses about 10 seconds per. Yeah. Okay, it looks like we're out of bounds. Hopefully I can get enough distance here to get to the goal ring. Ooh, barely missed it. Jeez. Oh, man.
Come on!
Come on.
Oh, you're lost in space.
Aw, got the game over.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, this is how bad this trick can get, especially like if you're on PB pace, sometimes this can happen. You just don't PB at all. And all right. Alright, I'll give it a couple more tries. If I can't get it, then I'll just do the stage skipless. Alright, one more shot. Alright, gonna do the stage skipless. But yeah, the point is you get out of bounds and then you fall through space. And then you grab the gold ring. But this stage is really cool skipless too, which I haven't done in a while. So normally you actually skip this upgrade here, but if you're gonna do the stage skipless, you do need to get it. This always freaked me out as a kid, doing this like that. It just looked so unsafe, and you had to do it to advance in the level. I'll be able to show this one trick though, which is known as a puzzle skip. Normally there's this big puzzle you're supposed to go through. But you can do a super bounce here, and then go all the way over here upside down and just kind of fall into the gold ring.
Yes! Just made it.
We got through it though. And Eggman 2 coming up, I'm going to be doing a manipulation strat to mess with his AI, which will make him shoot a laser into the wall if I can get it correctly. I'm going to be taking 2 steps forward, shoot, and go left so I can get him to kind of shoot his laser into the wall. And this can save a lot of time. Looks like I got it, so he's going to shoot his laser into the wall, and then he looks like an idiot, and you can just shoot at him. And that's how you can get a 14-second time. And 14 is pretty much like the best you can get here. I think maybe like a 14 like 0.1 or so is probably the absolute best. And Final Rush has a skip as well. This one's not quite as difficult to CGSS. You can basically skip the entire level. You only play like 25 seconds of it. And then there's going to be a trick that goes around a kill plane. And I'm gonna be using the timer here to time when I'm supposed to turn. So that I can go around the kill plane and not get caught up in it. Okay, so if I did everything correctly, I shouldn't die here, and I should be just right next to the kill plane. The kill plane is slightly to my left, like I'm really close to it right now. You can't see it though, so I have to use kind of like the Earth figure to like for visuals so that I don't actually run into it. And then at the very end, there is another kill plane that can also catch me, so I need to make sure I navigate around that as well. But yeah, it kind of stinks that this trick exists only because, like, this level is pretty cool, and, like, you don't really play it because of this skip. Looks like I'm barely gonna make it here. Okay, yeah, looks like we're good. They fall right on top of the goal ring.
Yes! Huh, no problem.
Alright, now the final battle with Shadow, where we do rhythmical homing attacks to take him out in between his homing attacks. And this boss is about 5 hits. Yeah, 5 hits that it requires to kill him. And on the 5th hit is where time will be. Three, 4, 5, and that's time.
The ultimate light. Game over, Shadow.
Nice run.
Nice run.
Yeah.
I didn't know that the game finishes with you bopping Shadow.
Yeah, that's because it's Hero Story specifically. That is the last thing that you do.
Gotcha.
But yeah, everything went
Damn
really
good
well.
shit.
Yeah, except for the crazy gadget skip.
Aside from that clip that took you an eternity to get, that one was good.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for the nice runs, everyone.
Look outside.
And the
I
GGs.
very much appreciate having you do this run, Tylen0l.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.
Starting V0oidathon off nice.
Oh yeah, not nice and smooth.
Cool.
Go fast.
I'm not sure what game's up next.
Up next, we have King's Quest Collection with Lumophile.
Ooh, that's exciting.
That should be pretty nice, yeah.
Heck yeah.